pasan en el barrio fino.
Esta noche contigo la pasé bien. Pero yo me enteré que te debes a alguien. Yeah, y tú fallaste.
My name is Magdalena Santiago. I'm about to turn 40 years old. I've lived in Philadelphia most of my life. I was born in Philadelphia, and after about a month or so, we had some tragedy the early part of my life in the family. So we moved back to Puerto Rico. When I was about 4, we came back to Philadelphia, North Philadelphia. And I went back when I was about 9 for about a year or so, then came back again. And I've been here ever since. I've lived in my younger years around 3rd in Ontario. I've lived at Howard and Dauphin. I've lived at Marshall and Dauphin. I've lived at Masher and Susquehanna, which is the Norris Square area. So they're all relatively close to one another. But yeah, I moved around a lot. I speak with my mother, sometimes when I speak with my children, not as much because they all mainly speak English. When I'm speaking with my friends or at work, I sometimes have to speak Spanish with Spanish clients. Absolutely. The younger generation, a lot of them are maybe first or second generation Puerto Ricans here in the U.S. And as with most cultures and assimilation, you start to lose the language, or you don't use it as much. It all depends on the family dynamic, really. Such as myself, I moved around a lot. Growing up, my parents spoke Spanish, but my father also spoke English. My brothers and sisters spoke English. In school, we spoke English. So little by little, you lose it. My kids don't speak that much Spanish. They understand it. They've studied it in school, but they choose not to speak it. English as a second language definitely helped me as a child, because when I first came back to Puerto Rico at 4 years old, I knew not a lick of English. I remember specifically being in an ESL class and playing with friends who only spoke English. So it definitely has helped. I do support that program. Not so much supporting schools where, I guess in other parts of the country, do have just Spanish-speaking teachers for all their Spanish-speaking students. I think in some ways that might hold some people back. I really think if the younger generation gets more involved and people stop moving out of the community, I think it can be a wonderful, prosperous community. Unfortunately, drugs and violence and those type of things do take hold a lot of times in lower income, and most of north of Philadelphia is lower income, which is a shame. But if people would stay, take pride in their community, take pride in their homes, on the blocks that they live, I think it could definitely be turned around. And I think a lot is being done to help turn it around. Case in point, new housing, pretty housing to make people proud of where they live.